Well, it's awful snug in here, Tube. The roof is still up, and we're getting ready for our first big trip. Microwave's in, lockdown, burners are in, lockdown. TV's in kind of a temporary permanent spot, lockdown. All my gear is in the closet. That's plates, bowls, cooking stuff, you name it, because I can't put them in the cabinets yet. This is our first winter shakedown. The roof is still up. Everything's locked down. There's actually a TV in, the couch is in. Had to pull the cushions off the dinette to get the bed all the way in. We're gonna take this baby on our first big test run across the country in the winter. So this is locking it up and setting out. Doesn't look like much. Yeah, it's me tapping it. It's not the motor, it's just making sure everything's working right. A little nervous. Wrong one. That's my door into the pass-through with my liner, ready to go. January, I don't even know what it is. Sun's up, a little cool, but getting nice. The rig's locked down, ready to go. I'll be honest with you, Tube, it's one thing to lock this thing down with nothing in it and go get some fuel. It's something entirely different when you're pinning down all the appliances and TVs and cushions and gear and trying to make everything work. And we had a little mishap this morning. That corner, that ram was 3/4 of an inch lower than all the other ones. And it's been that way for a while, and I thought it was a manufacturing issue. And I couldn't get the slide out because it was so close to the top of the slide out. It wouldn't come out all the way, so we were freaking out a little bit. But just disconnected all my wires and ran that one individually instead of a group, and it went up and down fine. I'm locked in, the bays are good to go, and yeah, cross country midwinter shakedown. Let's go, Tube. You might ask yourself, what am I doing on top of my rig in the middle of the night in the middle of Nebraska? That's a stinking good question, Tube. Well, stopped to get food. Didn't really need fuel because this thing holds 100 gallons, but stopped to get fuel and thought I'd check out kind of how everything's doing. Came up on the roof, started messing with the solar panels, and you'll never guess what I found. The whole back end of this thing is loose, and I don't know how that happened because they're nylocks. So thank goodness I stopped and checked. It's been about 400 or 500 miles. I think I have 500 miles under my belt. I have my special wrench, which you guys might remember from my solar video, and I'm gonna tighten these bad boys up. So hallelujah for stopping and checking on a custom built rig. Yep, that's 6 panels. They're still there, 1,000 miles in, holding strong, nothing loose. That is one of the rarest sights you will see in Michigan. The sun setting in the wintertime. And it looks beautiful, and it looks like it's a beautiful winter day. Warm as could be. It ain't. It is wicked cold. It says it's 20, I think 22 or 18 or something, I don't know. It's cold, but it feels like it's, God, 10 degrees. it feels in the daytime what Colorado feels like in the night. Since we're in like a high alpine desert, it gets wicked cold at night, like just bone chilling. And I don't know if it's the humidity or what, but it's bone chilling cold. Like you just run outside, do what you gotta do, and then run back inside. The rig's set up and it has been doing very well. We're gonna be taking off here in a day or so to head down to Nashville. And from there, I think we're going to Alabama. Classic Nashville. Broadway Street. In every one of these little buildings, there is a band or a group playing, and sometimes there's like multiple groups playing on multiple floors. It is really cool. That's a group, that's somebody playing over there. You can see there's second and third floors of these places, and they keep them packed. Let's look down Broadway. If you ever go to Nashville, you gotta come down to Broadway. Hang out in one of the saloons. Tootsie's apparently is like where everybody goes to start their career or started their career. But yeah. Downtown Nashville. Well, we made a stop in Nashville, and one of the places we came to was the Opryland Hotel and Resort, and they have a waterfall and a giant pond in the middle of this thing. This is the main atrium when you come in. And so there's like a little, that's a conference they have going on down there. You can actually reserve a room specifically with a balcony overlooking the atrium. They built this atrium, I think, back in 1988, or completed it back in 1988. You can see some of the palm trees are actually almost reaching the ceiling. Pretty cool for the center of the hotel. I have to admit, probably one of the coolest atriums I've ever seen. They also have a river going, an actual river going through the center of the property. You can take a boat on and check out. But once you get back a little ways, you're kind of submerged in this subtropical climate. It's pretty cool, for sure. Yeah, here are the waterfalls again. Just kind of cool that they have these waterfalls inside of a hotel. Yeah, this is the third or fourth atrium we've been in, and they're all kind of different. And it's just amazing they've done this to this hotel. Well, Tube, it finally happened. After over 2,500 miles, I did not think it was possible, but it happened. You know what that is? It's not the rig. It's that. The sun's out. It's been over a week and we haven't seen the sun. We show up to Alabama and the sun greets us with a smiley, smiley face. And the rig has performed flawlessly. Obviously, we're parked in an RV park down near Gulf Shores. Well, obviously we're parked in an RV park, and we happen to be down by Gulf Shores, Alabama. And we're gonna go to the coast here in a little bit, but I'll do a quick walk around. Everything's intact. We have our heater running, everything's running inside. really no issues. We've driven through snow and just some nasty weather, but all in all, this thing has done really well. Very, very happy with the way things have worked out. Not a whole lot to tweak, but definitely learned a few things on the way. But thought I'd give you a quick view of the outside of the rig, set up and living. We are living in the rig for a couple days, well, for a week now. So I'll give you a tour of the inside here real quick and show you what's going on in there. So again, after 2,500 miles, a little more than 2,500 miles, everything has stayed in place and done really well. So I'm really happy with the way everything's turned out inside and out. I have one issue, and that is a weld broke up there, and that was only tacked in, and I knew at some point I'd have to go back through and kind of tie these guys in a little better. So that is the only issue I've had going cross country and over some rough roads. But here's the rig. Obviously you came in that way. There's the infamous Tesla power station, and that's been working perfectly. The solar's working great. I think we're getting 1,000 watts right now. Without cabinet space, we're having to use everything we can to kind of make stuff work. So we're storing stuff in bins for now. Everywhere we have stuff tucked in little cubbies. I'm bringing stuff home from my dad from Michigan. So we have some extra debris laying around, but we're kind of set up pretty well. The cooktops have been in use. We've actually had the griddle out making pancakes up here. That's worked out well. We actually use the bed every single night. So that folds out and gets set up every night. That works out great. The little dinette area is a nice little lounging area. Really happy with that. Hey, there's a door open. There's the pass-through door into the coach with little space in here. Like, we have no use of the cabinets. The sheet that we're using for that bed is tucked up there, and it kind of stays up there, but we're hanging stuff wherever we can find room. We're kind of moving stuff back and forth all day long, but all in all, this thing has worked out great, and it's nice kind of getting a shakedown out of the way so we can see how we're using it and where we might need like extra storage space, hooks, stuff you just wouldn't think about until you're using this thing. So there's the rig. Like I said, everything has worked out great. We're super happy with it. I cannot wait to get this thing done and start using it on a regular basis. But all in all, super, super happy. And did I mention the sun's out? And that is a point of celebration for sure. But there you go, tube. Setup of the rig. Kind of a quick wintertime shakedown preview to completing this thing, but that's where we're at sometime in January. I don't even know where we're at in January, but that's the rig. Everything works. Everything's operational. We're living in this thing. It's awesome. Well, there it is, folks. We are in Gulf Shores, Alabama, and that is some pretty beach right there. I think my daughter said they call it sugar sand or sugar beach. It is really fine and really white. As you can see, it goes on forever. It is just gorgeous out. Middle of January, probably close to 60 degrees. They just spent, we were told by our Lyft driver, $15 million on renovating this area, and it's pretty cool. So not only has the rig made it really well, the bathroom has done great also. We've used this thing almost every day or every other day and have had no issues. Composting toilet, I will go into that at some other point in time, but that thing is just, I think, better than I expected for sure. I wasn't too sure that that thing would perform like everybody kind of says it does, but it does, man. That's Nature's Head. I believe it's Nature's Head composting toilet. And it's been great, just like everything else. But yeah, the shower's in and operational. Obviously, I have to finish it off. So the downside, and I think I mentioned this before, with using the shower or cooking in the rig or even just living in the rig, is condensation, or moisture rather. And you'll get condensation, especially if you have like this metal, like I mentioned before, thermal bridging, the metal stud. The heat difference between the inside and the outside will actually get the metal to sweat. And when you start adding moisture into the mix, it does do that. Hopefully you can see that on that stud right there. And there's probably, I don't know, there's another one there that has a little bit of it. And then this one might be a little more visible, I'm not sure. That and everything else created a little bit of a condensation issue, nothing serious. And when I get this thing wrapped in this foam core board and sealed off, that will not happen ever again. So it's pretty minimal, but definitely worth noting for sure. And if you're building a rig and you have steel anywhere from like contacting the outside all the way through the inside, this will show up on the inside of your rig for sure. Long story short, we made it home. My butt hurts. I drove so much. But we left Alabama, drove through, let's see, Alabama, Louisiana, Mississippi. Did I miss something? Mississippi. I want to say Oklahoma, and then Missouri, Kansas, and Colorado. Home sweet home. So yeah, it was a great trip, an incredible shakedown on the rig. Everything performed as or better than expected. I have absolutely no complaints. For running this thing through 4,000 miles of bad weather and rough roads, nothing broke, nothing rubbed, nothing fell apart, everything worked. I couldn't be happier. I just could not be happier. Figured out a few things on the way to either change or modify or whatever, but just really trivial things. And I'm gonna start moving on to trying to get the exterior done so that I can get this thing ready to wrap in some exterior protective coating. Don't know what that's going to be yet, but a Line X type material. They seem to be the most recognized brand out there, but there's Bullet and I think Lino Riding and somebody else that does basically the same thing. So we'll see what they're made of and which one's going to work best for this beast. But the really big next step and the next big trip for this thing is Overland Expo West. And if you guys don't know what that is, check it out online. It's an incredible event out in Arizona, and I am planning on taking this baby out there. And it should be, because that's in May, I should be nearly done with this thing inside and out. I'll probably have some little nitpicky things to wrap up, but 95% ish should be done and operational. And yeah, that's the next big trip, kids. See you there.